Club. I didn't even talk about the generation of the likes of Edith Agoye. Maybe that generation was actually represented by Ajibade Babalade that I mentioned. I remember their final game in the CAF Champions League in 1996. Unfortunately, it was an heartbreaker for somebody like me. But that is not what we're talking about this morning. We're talking about the new Shooting Stars Sport Club under the leadership of Chief Lekan Salami. Chief Honorable Lekan Salami, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, my brother. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Good to have you on the program. So,
it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so that we can quickly hit the ground running, because we don't, when we have to talk about something like this, it's a conversation that we can have on and on. So let me start from the very beginning. When your team came on board, you came with a strategy that you actually called the 3 R's. That is the way you called it. You talk about the fact that the 3 R's actually stand for re-engineering, restructuring, and repositioning of Shooting Stars Sport Club. So far so good. How has the journey been? How has been the journey as regards the 3 R's?
Well, thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to be on your program. Yeah, as you rightly said, we came in about 2 months ago now, maybe 9 weeks, 10 weeks, to basically come and, reposition the club for greatness. There's no gainsaying that, the family that I come from is synonymous with Shooting Stars.
Facebook.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So we came in with a program of the 3 R's, as you rightly mentioned, which is we wanted to restructure the club. We needed to re-engineer the processes, and we also needed to reposition the club for greatness. And the journey so far has been quite interesting, extremely challenging, I must say, because there's so many aspects where these 3 cardinal pillars, touch both on and off the field, and we've been able to achieve some level of success. So, we still have a long way to go.
Okay, you've been able to achieve some level of success. I don't really want to bore you with
matters, all right, to ensure that we're not sanctioned or we're not found wanting in any shape or form. It also has the responsibility of course, ensuring that all players have proper contractual obligations to the club, contracts are signed, and so on and so forth. Welfare is taken care of, and the likes. We brought in what we term the Chief Operating Officer. We have a very experienced individual, that came in to handle all the back office operations, from policy formulation to cost management to procurement, re-engineering, processes, managing the HR, managing the media. You will agree with me that we've become a force to be reckoned with in the media space. In the last couple of weeks, Shooting Stars, I make it bold to say that we have now the best media team in the NPFL, and this is highly acclaimed, and we've been able to do that. We've been able to set up a club store at the stadium where you can buy original jerseys. These are things that we've never had at Shooting Stars Sports Club. So we now have a store where you can get your jerseys, you can get merchandise. We're going to launch very soon our website. The club is for the first time ever, is going to have its own website that's going to be made available, where you can even buy online tickets, you can buy jerseys, you can do reservations, you can get information on the team, what we're doing. You can see videos, you can see player profiles, and so on and so forth. We've been able to, of course, make significant improvements when it comes to ticketing and sales. you know, and we become very transparent, you know, and accountable when we take that into consideration. You know, everybody knows, or we make it known, you know, to everyone, you know, what the ticket sales were in each category, you know, how much money we were able to generate for the club, you know, so we've more or less transformed everything within the ambit of, you know, the club. And we've just started. There's still a long way to go. We now need to just match this, all these improvements, you know, with the desired results. And then I think if we can do that successfully, you know, we can actually say, yes, we've moved the club to the next level.
All right, talking about some of the achievements that you've had that you mentioned, I can actually attest to some because I follow your Facebook page, and you know, I will encourage anybody to, you know, check it out so that they can see some of the things that you've mentioned for themselves. Some of those that I've seen for myself, and you know, one of the things I also want to talk about that I would love you to talk about, you've mentioned it in passing, and I want you to speak more about it, is the aspect of ticketing. From the information I had, and which I want you to speak more on. Your first home game, we were told that you made over 4 million naira from ticket sales, and the Southwest Derby that you had with Ikorodu City, we were told that you had over 6.6 million naira from sale of tickets. That was when you sold about 171 VVIP tickets. The VIP tickets, I can't remember the exact number, but you know, the sale for each of the tickets were matched with the amount, and the total was given to us. So for those two games, off my head, I can calculate over 10 million naira that we've been able to make from two games. So I want you to speak more about these figures that I've mentioned, how these were achieved, and maybe those are the two I can remember. I don't know if you have it, or maybe you can give us an estimate in total the number of the amount of money you've been able to make from sale of tickets.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, you know, the figures you just read out are exact figures that we made. The first match, we had a total income of 4.7. The second match, which was the Southwest Derby, we did 6.6. The last match we just had over the weekend, the figures are going to be released today. I think we did about 3.3 million or thereabouts. So in those, let's say, 3 games, we've been able to, you know, realize an income of about 15 million or just under for the 3 matches. I mean, this is a stark contrast to where the club is coming from. For maybe the previous seasons, all right? If I'm correct, perhaps I think last season, maybe for 16 home matches, maybe I think it was about 22 million or thereabouts. We've already hit 15 million in 3 matches, you know? And it can only get better, you know, if the results continue to be good. There's really no reason why we cannot be packing the stadium every weekend that we play and realizing maybe 6, 7, 8 million or thereabouts. So it's still work in progress though, but it's a far cry from where we're coming from.
Far cry from where you're coming from. Anyway, we'll still talk about the results. That is important. But before we talk about the results, we are still talking about the re-engineering and the restructuring, and of course the positioning of Shooting Star Sports Club. So before I leave the talk about ticket sales and the likes, because football and sport generally is about business, and of course talking about sale of tickets, we're talking about the business side of football, and to a lot of don't let me say to a lot of Nigerians, to some Nigerians, let me put it that way. It seems like our leagues, our league. Let me talk about the NPFL. Let's leave the NLF for now. It used to be like our league is not really marketable and it's not profitable. But with this experience that we're having with your management now, it's kind of like looking like it's telling us something different. So the question is, what were you able to do differently to actually start, generating this kind of revenue? And the transparency we're having now, what are you able to do to ensure that everybody fall in line with your vision of transparency?
Well, you see, the business side of it, as you said, sports is business, is big business. Particularly football is really big business, and it's a global phenomenon. Now, we realize that. However, there are many opportunities that clubs like ourselves can tap into, both locally and also internationally, when it comes to support, collaboration, sponsorships, and the likes. For you to be able to do this effectively, which is one of the key decisions that we took, you need to be able to have a very strong media presence. All right? If your media presence is good, because that's all people will see. If you're well amplified in the media space, social media, you're getting enough likes on all the different media channels, from Snapchat to Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and the likes. These numbers are what will sell you as a club. That's when brands will now take interest. That there's a community here that they can tap into for marketing and so on. So we needed to be very strong on social media, which I believe we're getting there. All right, at least with the kind of feeds and followers and all that we're getting these days, it's massive. So the brands would then come once they can see that is sustainable and that community is active. They will come and then they will collaborate and partner. Sooner rather than later, we would be announcing one or two, partnerships. People or companies that are coming to sponsor the club, in one way or the other. And we have different sponsorship categories that they can tap into. From jerseys to the sleeve of jerseys, to training kits, to our buses, to pitch panels, to being seen media, social media,
because of our time,
and so on. So
okay, because of our time, because we are still going to talk about the performance, and we are gradually running out of time. I marveled at what you've been able to achieve in 3 games. That's why I actually asked that question. So the final question on that, before we now move to performance, the performances of the team, is that with your experience, will you make bold to say that indeed the Nigerian League is marketable and of course is profitable?
Well, I don't know whether it's profitable, because Nigerian League to function effectively is a very expensive league to play. All right, it's definitely marketable. It's marketable for clubs like Shooting Stars because we have a very fantastic edifice, as a stadium, and credit, of course, should go to our, His Excellency, Engineer Sheyi Makinde, for, giving us a befitting home ground that can, hold up to 10,000. You cannot boast of such grounds for all clubs in the NPFL. Maybe 3 or 4 teams have such facility. So it's marketable for clubs that have that kind of a facility, because then they can bring in enough fans to be able to generate enough revenue. All right. But in terms of profitability, it's expensive. Running this football in this country is extremely expensive, which is why you see most of the clubs are government, owned and funded. But it's not every government that's is sports loving, unlike His Excellency, the governor for your state, who is profoundly, supporting sports, particularly football. Yeah, it's the league itself, has a long.
All right, I think it's like we lost his signal there. I hope he's going to be back before we wrap up because we don't have more time. And we've gotten to the point where I actually wanted to talk about. Okay, I think he's back with us. Honorable, we lost a signal from you the other time, but let me quickly ask my final questions so that you can attend to them. Let's now talk about the performances of. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, let's now talk about the performances of Shooting Stars as Football Club. You've played a number of games. The first home game wasn't, the result wasn't so gladdening. The result was, let me just put it this way, the result have not really been coming. You had your first win last weekend. So my question is that, is your management team not under pressure to actually, in other aspects you've been delivering, we spoke about ticket sales, but in terms of performance on the field, are you not under pressure to actually deliver on the field? And of course, the final one for that, these two questions is that, the name Lagos Salami is synonymous with football in Oyo State and particularly with Shooting Stars, and you are not living up to that name. How does it make you feel? Those are the last two set of questions for
you. The pressure is intense, I must tell you. Football, particularly in Oyo State, particular emphasis on Ibadan, is the religion. It's life. It's in everybody's DNA. So there's a lot of pressure. There's no doubt. I'm under constant pressure. Not only me, my management team, support staff, the players, the coaching crew, the media team. Everybody's under pressure to deliver, particularly on the field in terms of results. Off the field, yes, as you've rightly said, we've been able to record some level of success, but on the field, the results have not been as good as we want them to be. But I believe that with the win over the weekend now, it's going to propel us. We'll have more confidence to be able to achieve better results going forward. One thing I must say is that it's a tough league. Every team is good. It's 11 against 11. So you need to be able to go out, go away, win at home, and then also go and win away. I think we've played like 5 matches so far. We've been able to win 1, and we've drawn 2. Then we lost in Rivers, and then we lost 1 at home as well. So we're working hard. We're working hard to turn things around.
Okay, living up to the name Lagos Salami. How does it make you feel?
It's for me, being in this seat has actually made me to fully understand why my late father was so popular and left a very enduring legacy. All eyes are on you when you're on this seat. Everybody wants to be associated with Shooting Stars, and everybody has an opinion, and quite rightly so. You are carrying the responsibility of so many people on your shoulders. That's one success for the club. If Shooting is winning, the whole Oyo State is happy. If they lose, everybody is sad. So it's a huge responsibility, which I thank His Excellency for giving me the opportunity to also build upon the legacy that my father had, for me to also have my own legacy and impact, through sports.
All right, thank you so much. We just have to go because of our time. I hope not too long a time, I'm going to have you back for another session of interviews talking about the great football club, Shooting Stars Football Club. Honorable Lagos Salami, thank you so much for being my guest on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day. God bless you.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great,